Not to be dramatic, but I might have ruined my skin getting 5 procedures in a day while I was in Korea.
Peeled off.
It's been about 6 months since I flew halfway across the world for this, and this is my realistic update. My name's Aaron, and I'm a travel photographer and content creator based in New York City. If you want to watch my experience getting those 5 procedures in a day, I've linked it for you. I'm going to tell you what went right, what went wrong, and the things I wish I knew before I booked that flight. Now, to quickly give you some context, I went to one of those factory-type clinics in Seoul where you're shuffled in and out, and I was totally fine with that. The one I chose to go to was from a word-of-mouth referral because I didn't trust the countless clinics you see being promoted on social media with undisclosed partnerships. With this type of stuff, I'd rather pay out of pocket. Let me start with the one procedure that actually worked perfectly, because it'll help you understand why I'm not completely writing off Korean beauty tourism, despite everything that happened. The very first thing I got was a prep facial, which I actually had to pay extra for. I think most other clinics include this, but the cost was minimal, like $8. The consultant I spoke to said it was supposedly a prep for the microneedling portion. Lasers are a big thing, and I wanted to remove my freckles, so I got the XLV laser at the clinic's recommendation because it was less painful than other options like Fraxel. I know some people want to look like they got punched in the face when they leave Korea because it's so out of the way, but I travel to Asia once or twice a year, so I'm in no rush. I'm actually really happy with the laser results, but I wish they were more aggressive. They only targeted the darkest spots, when I would have preferred them to go after more across my face. The pain was totally manageable though, so that was a win. A month afterward, I ended up getting a second laser treatment in Taiwan at a dermatologist's office called the ND laser, and he removed a lot more of my freckles, but what was supposed to be a 2-week downtime turned into 2 months. My face looked terrible over the holidays, and it's only now starting to show the results. There's still some discoloration, so I'll obviously need to do another session, but I think this time I'll be ready to do a more aggressive laser treatment. XLV laser was a great recommendation, but it gave me false confidence for what came next. Now here's where things get messy. The next treatment I got was microneedling, and I chose to do this because everything these days is about generating collagen, blah blah blah. But I have to say, microneedling really wrecked my skin. Not to toot my own horn, but I naturally have amazing skin. It's my biggest flex. My genetics really came through for me here. Asian don't reason. While purging is common with microneedling, I had some of the worst acne I ever had that lasted for months. At first, while I was in Taiwan, that same dermatologist had removed it, and then it got discolored and also grew back. Even as recently as the making of this video, I had to go to another dermatologist back home in New York City to try and get it removed. Again. Round 2, doing this again, I had to go to another dermatologist now in New York City, so I've been to 2 dermatologists, one in Taiwan and one in New York City now. The one in Taiwan had extracted it, and then it grew back, and then I had extracted it myself. I had used the Hero Cosmetic Mighty Patches to suck out the stuff, and then finally after like 2-3 months, it finally healed, and then I still felt a comedone, like it was still hard down here, so then I kind of aggravated it the other day when I was using this, and then reactivated it. So I actually had a dermatologist appointment because I wanted to do a skin cancer check anyway, and she got rid of it finally. So it's healing, and this is the perfect opportunity to use this one again. Put it on the dark spot. It has a little prick. And leave it on overnight and see what the results are, if it clears up.
1 million, zillion, jillion, dillion, cotillion times later.
It's the next morning. Let's see what we got. Looks later.
Hello. What do?
I feel like it looks slightly lighter, but it looks bruised. The very first time I did this, there was a notable difference, but the past couple of times, I'll put some vitamin C on, so in the daytime, and want to help with brightening this.
Good.
And then some SPF. This is from Zitsika. I actually got it for free at an Apple event, so, but I've been using it because it does have zinc oxide.
Good.
I wear SPF when I know I'm going to be outside, but when I'm at home, which is a lot of the time, I don't because it also makes me break out. But there is still some discoloration, so I'll continue trying the Hero Micropoint for dark spots until this box is done. I've never had my skin take so long to rebound. Then was the Botox and lip filler. Now, I don't know what happened, but my lip filler straight up deflated after only 3 weeks. I'm pretty disappointed it went away so quickly because this is what I was looking forward to the most. It's kind of ridiculous because this stuff is supposed to last up to a year, so it does feel like it was a waste of money in that sense. For those 3 weeks, my lips felt like absolute bricks, and then literally overnight, it felt like there was nothing there anymore. I was pretty conservative since it was my first time. I don't know how much I got if I'm being honest. It was 2 syringes, and I think one is 1 cc. But anyway, Ristylane Kiss really is as natural looking as they claim, so next time I'm definitely loading up. As for the Botox, I got it in 2 sections, my forehead and crow's feet. The Botox worked for my crow's feet, but for my forehead, the injector only hit the top when I wanted it to be placed a bit lower. However, when I was at that same dermatologist in Taiwan afterward, I learned it's better to do small amounts over multiple sessions so you don't depress your eyebrows. This is exactly why it's recommended to go to someone you have regular access to if you're gonna do this stuff. I wish the consultant in Korea had explained this, but since I went to a factory type of clinic, they basically just do what you want without any true advisement from a doctor. Price-wise, I have no complaints because I know these procedures would cost way more in the US. But since I went to a foreigner-friendly clinic, I'm pretty sure their prices are higher than Korean-only speaking clinics. Even with flights and accommodation, the total cost still comes out lower than doing everything stateside. Here's a side-by-side comparison. They're general numbers I could find from med spas in New York City. But I'm curious, what's the pricing where you live? So leave a comment and let me know what the prices are like in your area. So the big question, will I go back to Korea again for beauty tourism? Even though this video might sound like everything was an utter fail, the answer is a resounding yes. I said this in my first video. I have a low pain threshold, so for my first serious venture into advanced skincare, I was very intentional to do only superficial level procedures. Anything more invasive, like Regeron, which is all the rage now in South Korea, I'll be going to a doctor's office where I can get a consultation and recommendations based on my concerns. So I'm in Seoul for a week, and when I tell you I've looked everywhere for Rejuvenex, I mean everywhere. I don't even know what the hype is for this thing. I just know that the company that does Regeron, like when you go to the skin clinics where you inject salmon DNA into your skin as a skin booster, really supposedly does amazing things. That same company makes this in the bottle. Pharmacies are like a dime a dozen here. There's one on literally every corner. And I lost count how many I went into. I'm pretty sure I went into like 50 of them. I started taking pictures because it was just insane how many pharmacies I went into. Every time I would go in, show them a picture of it and be like, do you have it? They would all shake their head vigorously and be like, no. Or some would say they're out of stock. I had one pharmacy say that it was expired. So I basically looked at every pharmacy I could find in Myeongdong. And then I walked from Myeongdong to Hongdae. That's over a 2-hour walk. I wanted to make sure that I was hitting up every single pharmacy I could find. And if there's one thing about me, I will persevere. Because that's where I found one box. And that was the last one in stock for this pharmacy. But I didn't stop there. I also went into every single pharmacy I could find in Gangnam. And then there was one that had a bunch in stock. And we cleared that out. Honestly, it was for the thrill of the hunt. Quick appreciation moment for my K-pop makeover and a tongue hula break. There was recently a viral story about a woman who went permanently blind when she was in Korea because their injector ignored her concerns. That's exactly the kind of nightmare scenario I was trying to avoid. If you're thinking about beauty tourism in Seoul or Korea, do your homework. Find a reputable doctor who will actually assess your skin and give you honest recommendations based on your concerns. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.